G'day gang, I'm here at the beautiful Horston Park picnic grounds where I'm here with Teresa Cameron. Teresa, all I can say is it was a stellar performance that you operated back in December with your NCAT hearing. We are all thrilled and wanting to know, we need an update as to your matter with the New South Wales and Midwife Council mob. Please tell our viewers, where are we at the moment exactly?
Okay, so my case was heard on December the 15th and 16th, and there's still not been an outcome. I have written to them to remind them of my case number and what my case was about, because as far as I can see, I've absolutely 100% won the case, but we'll see how we go with other evidence and things that are happening in the background. I'm having to call them out on what they're doing on an ongoing basis. So basically, I'm a registered nurse, registered from St Vincent's Hospital. I specialised in diabetes, and I became one of the first nurses in Australia to become credentialed as a diabetes educator, and then I was actually the first nurse in Australia to get a Medicare provider number under the diabetes portfolio, which is different to nurse practitioners. And shortly after that, I founded Diabetes Alliance, which is my company and my business and my ASIC registered business name. Now, unfortunately, New South Wales Health have been actively using that business name. They've been getting apparently research grants. They've been publishing research in the CSIRO magazine thing. I saw my business name splattered through that. I was told, oh, it's okay, we're in Newcastle and you're in Sydney.
Impersonations.
Yeah, and my dad is from Newcastle. I've got, if anyone's related to any O'Briens up there, I'm related to a lot of people in Newcastle. So basically, they've been using Diabetes Alliance. There's an issue, certainly in 2015, where somebody won a New South Wales Premier's Award in my business name. So that is not great, and he won the award as a clinical lead of Diabetes Alliance. So New South Wales Health have got some very strong conflicts of interest, and even in I think it was August 2024, I introduced myself as at a conference in front of this particular doctor as the CEO of Diabetes Alliance, and I had one of the top doctors come up to me and say, oh, we had no idea, because they know me, I've been around for like forever. So yes, New South Wales Health have been extensively using my business name, and I think they thought they could get away with saying not very nice things about me, again, get away with that. So what happened in particular was that I submitted an airtight case in mid-2024 to the Australian Human Rights Commission for breach of my medical and religious human rights over the COVID vaccine. Actually, that was mid-2023.
Yeah, that's maybe the impersonators.
23. Sorry about that. So so basically,
that's what I was to say.
Yeah, and so what happened then, Teresa?
I submitted the case. Actually, it was mid-2023, and not long after, I actually won I actually got a job in Far West New South Wales Health, and that was negotiated and facilitated by a nursing agency. I didn't go for interviews or anything, but my nursing agency gave them my qualifications and everything. I was almost 2 decades at one of the top Sydney, one of the biggest private hospitals in Australia, as their clinical nurse consultant in diabetes, and we had over 1,000 staff at any one time, active casualty, lots of births, well over 2,000 births a year at that particular location. So much more than any rural hospital. Very big private hospital. So I worked there for almost 2 decades, and then went on to get jobs with Medicare Local and something called Sydney North Health Network. And I was actually very much part of the team that rolled out and affected government policy, creating the very first clinical pathway for diabetes. So this is high level stuff. I didn't
cutting edge stuff.
It's cutting edge stuff, and look, over the years I haven't really. I'm not one to brag, and so I don't think they realise what my qualifications really are, and that they are what I say they are. So basically, what happened to me with Far West New South Wales Health, I realised at the end of 2 back-to-back contracts that I was subject to a wage error. By about the March, my union kept negotiating with them, New South Wales Health, saying, you haven't paid it properly. I then was sent a email with a document saying that, well, you were underpaid because you had signed this contract. Now it had the wrong starting date, because after my original starting date, wrong home address, wrong medical status, wrong pay rate, and it had the IP address on the back saying that I'd signed it such and such a date. My nursing agency validated that wasn't true. They'd signed a contract a good 2 weeks earlier with somebody else at New South Wales Health.
So it was a de jure contract.
It was a fraudulent contract created, it's my understanding, by my then manager. Now this woman at Far West New South Wales Health, at a place called Bal Reynolds, she's on the board of the Nurses Union, and while New South Wales Health have got rid of her, stripped her down or whatever, she's still on the board of the Nurses Union, which I find astonishing. So anyhow, I was offered, with negotiations going back and forward, they refused. They sent me intimidating letters. They said, never contact us again, or we'll sue you. They did that in 2024. Then I did a whistleblower statement about this manager, and I did it unbeknownst to me. I actually did it after she'd already been stood down on investigation, and this is court-proven facts.
Wow.
Some of the documents that New South Wales Health submitted said, oh yes, she wasn't working, she was under investigation, and she was never taken back again. So what happened?
Double jeopardy.
The double jeopardy. What happened? I wrote the whistleblower statement September 20th of 2024. On the 28th, she wrote a letter of complaint about me based on that whistleblower statement, debunking everything I'd said. It's now court-proven fact that everything I said was true, and that her document is fraudulent, and it was signed off by 2 even more senior people from New South Wales Health. So currently New South Wales Health is in active fraud of the court, and the people who signed off on that document have committed perjury, because it says, for example, that she was still in the workplace. I took that document to New South Wales Police in May of 2025, and they looked at it in shock, because they knew full well exactly why she was no longer at New South Wales Health. And perhaps
did you get an event number for that?
Oh yeah, I got an event number and everything, and they started an investigation. Then they put it back to the nurses midwives. They're supposed to investigate themselves of their own bad behaviour, which they're not doing very well at all. I don't know why that
it happens in all areas of government. It's always it's the playbook that they use.
Yeah. And look, in the January and February of 2025, the HCCC investigated me. They dropped the case because they can't use hearsay, and it was a hearsay document. You can't use hearsay.
Sorry, who dropped the case?
The HCCC dropped any case against me because you cannot use hearsay in court, and there's no evidence of wrongdoing. Like there's no bad prescribing or anything. They were just saying, oh, she's mentally ill, for saying that she was subject to wage theft, or when it was all true, and sort of blackmail when they offered me $5,400 to keep quiet. It was an NDA, and threats of litigation if I ever contacted them again, when I then turned around and went to the Premier's office and proved exactly what I said, which was that they were lying. So what's happened over the last year is, since March the 31st, they said, oh, well, you were actually clinically stood down because you were an inpatient at Canterbury Hospital in December 2024 and January 2025. And actually the December, one of my cousins was on the board of that hospital. I was not there. They did 2 subpoenas because they were so convinced of the lies they had been told. They did 2 separate subpoenas to try to find evidence that did not exist. So basically,
constructive trust, that's what it is.
I don't know, but so basically the case has been proven because their lawyer said this is crucial to our case. Well, there was nothing, and it's continued to be that way. Their own solicitor, they got a psychiatrist involved to say that I was very nuts and what have you, but he had to change his diagnosis. He had not even checked if those admissions had taken place. Wow. Massive professional incompetence, and I am asking for a lot of sort of help.
It sounds like racketeering to me, darling.
Oh yeah, but do we have those laws in Australia?
Oh no, well the only laws that I know are the RICO laws in the US, which man is really good on. Yeah,
well the thing is with these organisations, they all have ABNs.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to us, they're all registered on the Australian Stock Exchange, and they're all registered in the US, and the US, Washington DC, is now actually under full military control. And I have noticed very interesting people suddenly resigning from jobs and around
everywhere.
And so it would beg the question how. And if we even had the US Coast Guard in our harbour last year, there's a tiny boat.
Well, in Darwin maybe they might have it. or North Queensland.
driven a long way to get here. It's not a ship.
Yeah.
So who knows what's happening? There are allegations
Yeah.
that Jag is actually somewhere offshore of Australia, but you can't
Yeah.
really prove that.
We're living in lawless times, and so all we can do is step out in faith, and that's all we have is just our faith that good times are ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for my case, like I put in several summonses to cross-examine the complainant, which is a basic human right that you've got. I initiated the court case, so I should be able to cross-examine the complainant on a hearsay document. So now the document is still hearsay because they didn't come to court, and that was blocked by one particular NCAT staff member in particular. Kept blocking any attempts for me to cross-examine the complainant. But fortunately, the nurses midwives did submit proof that the document is fraudulent.
Okay.
They submitted themselves without perhaps understanding.
That's a bonus for you, yeah.
It's a bonus for me. They submitted that, and then
yeah.
somebody else, one of the nurses from Val Reynolds, actually submitted what date she had been removed, which was a good almost 2 months before I did my whistleblower statement.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting to hear what's happening. At the moment, it's come to my attention that these NCAT tribunals can have extraneous evidence that they can look at, and I perchance did see a document during the trial. I saw a document that was allegedly written by a staff member of New South Wales Health. It was not in her tone of writing, it wasn't what happened, it was a fraudulent document. I did call them out on
You're
that.
going to subpoena this person?
Look, that person, I don't think she wrote it. So, and I did say,
Cross-examine.
The thing is, and I don't think these registrars and what have you understand, there's also already a registrar in court. It's New South Wales Supreme Court in front of the courts for her behaviour. So it looks like they can be held accountable.
Of course, yes.
One way or another, they
yeah.
can be held accountable.
Yeah.
And so what I'm looking for is assistance. This is a complicated case in many ways because there's many moving parts. People using my business name, pretending to be me, defamation of character, trying to say that I'm.
You need some serious litigation, and the thing is, with my background, I specialise in very small numbers of, defendants when I litigate. But in your case, because it's so enormous, so many people involved, very very similar to Desi Cochrane, who I'm assisting at the moment. He's involved all government departments, from the police to the judiciary, and the Governor General, and even the Prime Minister's office.
Yeah, well, mine does also involve New South Wales Police. In 2015, they lost evidence of break and enters into my home. They sent me off to North Shore Hospital Mental Health Unit with a doctor they can't find anymore, and there was another doctor who Medicare are questioning for multiple. She put in 18 claims, and I think she saw me 4 times at most.
How long were you at the hospital for?
Oh, it wasn't. It was a day's phone thing.
Okay.
It was a phone thing. But basically, they didn't understand. They rang a friend of mine called Beth, and Beth said, oh yes, I've witnessed 2 lots of break and enters. Teresa's very upset. The police aren't believing her. It's probably going to be ongoing because a bad location and poor security. So that's in the medical notes.
Wow.
And yet their doctor ignored it, and what they didn't know is that Beth at the time, and possibly still is, a solicitor, and she is or was a solicitor with the Ministry of Health, so with the people that I'm actually up against in court.
Oh my
so
God.
It's good. I think God has a funny sense of humour.
What a cesspool of...
Well, they didn't know
Wow.
that she put the witness statement into my medical notes. So
Right, okay.
yeah, so this
Horrific,
doctor who, when I rang up APRA, they said, oh, we can't find any evidence of him ever existing, and suddenly, oh, well, he did exist, but only until the end of 2015, but he's not qualified to do the diagnosis he did. They just said, oh, you're delusional for thinking of break and enters, even though I had all sorts of things happening. And one of my neighbours was admitted to North Shore Hospital casualty in shock from having over $100,000 worth of stuff taken. Apparently, apparently in my case. Yeah, so it's not good.
I can't believe you got the most wonderful warrior spirit. I can see it coming. Are we? When is your next hearing? Have you got a next matter coming
I
up?
don't know. So I do need some extra help, like this thing with 2000.
Well, we need to put a call out for some
call out.
experts out there who can help our sister warrior here, Teresa, to seek remedy and justice for all the heinous crimes that have been perpetrated on you. Since when? Since 2015?
Well, it's probably 2010 things started
Right.
after I submitted my business name. 2015 when this fellow won the New South Wales Premier's Award in my business name. That
Right, okay.
certainly, I had no idea what the medical notes were. They never gave them to me until the 22nd of January this year. And even my GP on the Monday,
Right.
2 days earlier, he had not received them ever. Because they're fraudulent. And
Wow.
yet, apparently, it's my understanding, they've given it to the NCAT tribunal as evidence. This is
So
really,
have you
really
submitted any kind of fiduciary notice documents?
I did submit them on Friday.
Okay. Have you've only started on Friday?
That's the first time.
Yeah. Well, I would strongly suggest that you. Keep on regularly submitting the fiduciary and noticing all those departments that you were commenting earlier that racketeering and colluding to do you harm, and so you get all the email addresses and serve them all because they need to be held to account.
What I'd like to do, and
Yeah.
this is not legal, if there's a possibility of going to the US and doing RICO laws and somebody wants to support me, I can literally...
the only thing I can think of is the International Court of. I know that Wayne Glue, he's trying to get justice now because after getting his house stolen from the council, he's using a US court. You're going to have to look into using because we're controlled by the US anyway. All our courts are controlled by the US.
I can do RICO laws against the New South Wales Police, New South Wales Health,
Sure.
the Nurses Midwives Council, possibly also the ACCC and the HPCA, as well as the Nurses Midwives Council. So there's also the NCAT courts. So since they're not doing their jobs, and we suffered what we all suffered during that whole COVID debacle,
of course,
I think that would be not an unreasonable thing to do. And I'm happy to take over and steer it in the right direction.
Even go as far as using the International Charter of Human Rights, the 2006 Responsibilities Act as well. Just use all weapons at your disposal because you are innocent. And everyone knows you're innocent. And we are just going to keep sending you positive vibes that you will come out triumphant. But it's been a real. We'll keep everyone an update. We'll be putting out future videos on and giving everyone an update as to how you're progressing in getting your remedy and obviously compensation. But what we need is a litigation, a team of litigation lawyers who have got experience in tackling multiple government departments. That's what you really need. That's the only way I can see you ever getting remedy. But it's been a real pleasure meeting up with you again. And look, Teresa and I were just recently discussing our dear friend Tony Wakeham, who's recently passed away, and she has, the last time she's been briefing everyone about her matter was when, what was that? When you spoke at Tony's.
I did an interview with Tony's team about 2 weeks ago, so on the 13th of March.
Yeah, we our heart goes to Tony Wakeham and all his family. Sincere condolences, and look, we'll keep you updated. But for now, thank you very much. You've been very kind with your time, Teresa. And Rocco Vardy is sending tremendous love. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, cheers.